A couple of years ago, I taught you guys a cool two-hand tapping arrangement for the main theme to Halloween, but this week we're going to take a look at another one of my favorite pieces of music from the flick, Laurie's theme. Well, hey there, children, welcome to a brand new installment of Weekend Wankshop. Here with your good buddy, Uncle Ben. John Carpenter's Halloween is still one of my all-time favorite scary movies, and one of my favorite parts of it is the awesome and iconic soundtrack that John wrote for it. If you're looking to learn the main Halloween theme that everybody thinks of, be sure to check out Weekend Wankshop episode 44 for a whole two-handed tapping arrangement of that. I'll put a link for that in the video description below. What we're going to be looking at today is how to play Laurie's theme, which is another piece of music from the flick that is really ominous and super spooky. This features that signature John Carpenter-ism of coming up with a cool idea and moving it through multiple different key centers to make the whole thing really haunting and spooky sounding. And of course, you can find a full spooky tab for this over on my Instagram page at Ben Eller Guitars. Be sure to follow me over there, find the tab for this week's lesson, learn how to play it, then upload a video of yourself shredding through it along with the hashtag Weekend Wankshop. Before we start getting into this, I know a lot of you guys will be asking about my tone that I'm using today, so let me go ahead and cover some of that stuff. I'm using my Kemper Profiler, Matrix Power Amp, and Avatar 212, and I'm also running into Logic and coming out of my monitors here behind me. So I've kind of got this stereo thing going, playing this beautiful Suhr Alt T, which is a semi-hollow T-style guitar with humbuckers in it. I'm on the neck position right here, and I'm playing fingerstyle. For added ambiance to this entire thing, I recommend using a reverb or delay of some sort. What I'm using right now is one of the awesome delays built into the Kemper Profiler here. Earlier this year, they did this huge update which added all these beautiful sounding delays, and the one I'm on right now is called Dual Delay, and it sounds ridiculously good. I also have a teeny tiny bit of compression, which really helps whenever you're trying to sustain some of these bass notes out on some of these, finger crushing chords. So a little compression goes a long way. This is going to be played fingerstyle here. You can just use your thumb and first two fingers to play the entire thing. So here's the first chord grip we're going to be using here. This is going to carry out through all the other voicings that we use too. I'm going to have the D string 16 with my fourth finger. I'm going to have the G string 12 with my first finger. And I'm going to have my B string 15 with my third finger. My middle finger isn't doing anything in this chord, just these three notes. Spooky. Now how this is going to start off is by plucking the B and G strings together with your first two fingers. And then using your thumb here to pluck the D string. Just alternating like that, high notes, low note. Do that 16 times in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. And then we get into the meat of this whole thing, which is pretty taxing to play on the left hand here. So what we're going to do first is using the middle finger, we're going to play the low E string here on 14. Now notice these three fingers are still in that grip I was holding down for our intro, the 16, 12, 15 kind of grip. I'm still holding that down. I'm just going to be moving some bass notes around on the bottom strings here. What you're going to do first is to play that 14th fret low E string with your middle finger along with your 12th G and 15th B. Going to play all three of those together like this. And then with your thumb, play that 16 on the D, then play your G and B strings again, then play that 16th fret D again. So now you've had... after you've played that, basically what we're going to do is to play the exact same idea, but with an A in the melody. Now, I play this A note here with my first finger. So what this means is my grip is going to kind of change a little bit. For this chord, I'm going to be playing first finger A12, fourth finger D16, first finger G12, so that's under a bar right here, and third finger B15. Or you could take your middle finger up and over like that, but I find that horrendous to do. So whenever I play this chord, that's the grip I'm going to use. 12, 16, 12, 15. You're going to pluck the A12 along with your G and B strings that you're holding down on 12 and 15 respectively. Pluck that 16th D, play your high notes on G and B again, and then play that D on 16 again. So the second section is... And the next part here, what you're going to do is to take that initial little cluster of notes that we had held down at the first of this and just move everything down a fret, okay? So now my little finger is on the 15th D, my first finger is on the 11th G, and my ring finger is on the 14th B string. Now, with your middle finger right here, what you're going to do is to be playing the 13th fret on the A string. Okay, this is a huge chord grip. 13, 15, 11, 14. That is just a handful of notes. And do the same idea you've been doing. You're going to play the bass note along with the G and B strings. Play the D string, which is now on 15. Play the high notes again. And then play that D string 15 once more. And then for the next section, you need an E flat in the bass. So again, my chord grip is going to change to a funky kind of bar grip right here. I've got the 11 on the low E. I'm not doing anything on the A, but it is technically under my bar. I've got the D on 15, I've got the G on 11 under my bar, and I've got the B on 14. Again, that is a huge handful of notes right there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by plucking that 11th fret low E string along with my G and B, which are now on 11 and 14. Play that 15th D, play your high notes on G and B again, and then play that D on 15. So that's just like that. Whew, that is exhausting. So again, those shapes once more here. We're going to be starting off with our first position that we played with our F sharp note in the bass, A in the bass, chord shape shifts down a fret, B flat in the bass, E flat in the bass. And you just do that entire set of stuff 2 times in a row. After this, you play literally the same stuff, just move down 2 frets for your starting point is all. So now our first position that we play is going to be 12th low E, 14th D, 10th G, and the 13th B. So our chord grip will be a really ominous sounding chord voicings. And you're going to start this off the same way you did the other one there. Play the low E string on 12 along with your G and B, which are now 10 and 13. 14th D, play the high notes on G and B again. 14th D. And then your bass note needs to change to the 10th fret A string. So now my grip is like 10, 14, 10, 13 on A, D, G, and B strings. Play the 10th fret A string along with your G and B strings on 10 and 13. 14th D, high notes on G and B again. 14th D. So now you got... And just like what you did before here, you're going to move the high notes down a fret. So that way you're going to have the 13th D, the 9th G, and the 12th B. Now your middle finger here is going to be playing the A string here on fret number 11, that A flat note. Play that along with the G and B strings, which are now 9 and 12, D string, high strings G and B again, and the D string again. And then what you're going to do is to move that bass note down to a D flat, which is going to be underneath your first finger on the 9th fret low E string. So again, here's that big bar grip again, where we got 9th E, 13th D, 9th G, 12th B. Huge handful of notes. Be sure to watch the tab closely for this stuff. And we're going to play the low E string along with the G and B strings, D string, which is now 13, G and B strings again, and the D string again. So now section 2 should sound something like this. This next part is truly insidious because unlike the last part where we moved from kind of starting at 14 to starting at 12, which isn't that much of a difference grip-wise, now you've got to start all the way down at B, fret number 7. Down here the fret spacing starts getting a whole lot wider than it was here, so this part is truly diabolical and kind of painful to play if you're not careful. So now our starting high note grip is going to be the 9th fret D, the 5th fret G, and the 8th fret B with my 4th, 1st, and 3rd fingers, just like before. Make your bass note this time start off on the 7th fret low E string, the B note. Just like before, you're going to play the bass note on the low E string along with the G and B, which are now 5 and 8. Play that D9, play the G and B again, play that D9. Then you're going to want a D note in your bass, so with your first finger here, reach up onto the 5th fret A string. You're going to grab that along with the 5th G and 8th B. Play the 9th D, back to G and B, and play the 9th D again. So now you got... And same as before, the high notes are going to move down a fret. So now we're going to have 8th fret D, 4th fret G, and 7th fret on the B string. Again, this is really taxing to do right here. And you're going to start off with an E flat bass note. So your middle finger is going to be playing your 6th fret A string along with your G and B strings, which are now on 4 and 7. Play that 8 on the D, G and B again, D string again, and then lastly you're going to want an A flat bass note. So with your first finger, reach up, grab that 4th fret low E string. This is probably the most brutal part of the whole thing. Play the 4th fret low E string along with your 4th G and 7th B, 8th D, G and B strings again, and then that 8th D one more time. Then you go back to the top of that section here with the B bass note and the higher position 9, 5, and 8 on the top strings. And then thank God this last part is pretty easy. You're going to have the 3rd fret B, the open G, and the 4th fret D string. So only 2 notes to hold down now, thank God. You're going to start off here by playing the G and B, then the D, alternating. And you're going to do that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The next time all you're going to do is add in that 2nd fret low E string, the F sharp note, along with your G and B strings. And D, G and B, D, G and B, D, and so on. And you now have one awesome iconic horror theme and tendinitis. Okay, so once more here from the top, we'll be starting off with just those high notes up here in the 12th position, and then I'll be calling out the bass notes as we go. So we start off with our high stuff here 16 times. 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4, 4. Now we're going to start those bass notes up. F sharp, A, E flat, E flat, F sharp, A, B flat, E flat, E, G, A flat, D flat, E, G, A flat, D flat, B, D, E flat, A flat, B, D, E flat, A flat. Then your open position. 5, 6, 7. Add in F sharp on the bottom. That is really a workout, but I love how those really close voiced chords like that sound. They're super easy to do on piano, but on guitar, because of our tuning, you really got to stretch to reach those close intervals like that. So it's kind of brutal on you, but it sure does sound cool. It has been another super fun October of teaching you guys how to play some of my favorite horror movie themes. If you enjoy this kind of thing, be sure to click on the playlist in the video description here for complete lessons on how to play my arrangements of the themes from The Exorcist, Hellraiser, Nightmare on Elm Street, Saw, and many more. Thanks as always for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. You guys can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Ben Eller Guitars, and you can follow my Facebook fan page over on facebook.com/Uncle Ben Eller. If you're interested in booking some one-on-one Skype lessons with me, be sure to drop me an email, benellerguitars@gmail.com. And if you're a horror movie fan like I am, be sure to listen to my podcast over on iTunes or SoundCloud. It's called Dead and Lovely, and it's myself and my main man, Hollywood Steve, getting together and pretty much just shooting the shit and reviewing some of our favorite and least favorite horror flicks. So be sure to look for Dead and Lovely on iTunes or SoundCloud. Thanks again so much. Be sure to stay tuned for a super cool episode of Weekend Wankshop coming up next week. Hope you guys have had a great Halloween. I know that I have. Cheers, guys.